I never used to be the jealous type. But then his female friends got touchy, his coworker started sending heart emojis, and his mom said I needed to relax, he's just friendly. Every time I spoke up, he smirked and said, "You're overreacting." So I learned to swallow it. Smile through it, stay quiet. Until one night, at his best friend's engagement party, someone pulled me aside and whispered something that made the whole room go silent. I never used to be the jealous type. I was the one who said, "Trust is everything." The girl who rolled her eyes when someone said, "My man can't have female friends." I believed in giving people space, letting them breathe. Until I met Tyler. It started with Elise, just a few likes. A fire emoji under his gym pic. A mine with 3 laughing emojis on his birthday post. Harmless, right? At first, that is what I told myself. Just Elise being Elise, the loud coworker from his sales team. The one who always joked that she was the reason he hit his monthly quota. Then came the touches. Not mine, hers. At parties, at bars, always in photos. Her hand on his shoulder. Her chin nearly grazing his neck when they leaned in for group shots. And always that grin, the one women give when they are daring you to react. I never gave her that satisfaction. Instead, I gave him benefit after benefit of the doubt, until I mentioned it. The first time, I said it lightly. "She's kind of touchy, huh?" Tyler just laughed. "You're being weird." The second time, I asked, "Do you ever think she's crossing a line?" He rolled his eyes. "You're overreacting, again." The third time, I did not ask. I told him it bothered me. He kissed my forehead and said, "You're being emotional, you always go to worst case." It was not just Elise. It was the girl from his gym who messaged him, "Happy Friday," kiss emoji, every single week. It was the server at the sports bar who greeted him by name and ran her hand along his back. It was his ex from college, who still replied to his stories with "Your trouble." And it was always the same response, "You're insecure." I stopped mentioning it. His mom, Linda, did not help. When I confided in her once, said I was trying to work through some discomfort, she sighed, deep and dramatic. "He's just friendly," she said. "You really should learn to relax. Otherwise, you'll ruin this." That was the beginning of the end. I trained myself to be cool, chill, unbothered. I stood still while other women leaned in. I sat through dinners where Elise recounted funny stories from work, always starring Tyler as the charming lead. I took the group photos, the ones where I was always standing 2 people away. I laughed at his jokes. I pretended the sinking in my stomach was just me being tired. Eventually, I stopped reacting. I stopped bringing things up. I stopped sleeping well. By the time we got to his best friend's engagement party, I was barely speaking unless spoken to. The event was at a rooftop venue in the city. Candlelight, fake laughter, couples taking selfies against skyline views. Elise was there, of course. Tight dress, glossy lips, arms slung through Tyler's like they were a sitcom couple. She had on heels so high she clung to him for balance, and he smiled like it was normal. I stood next to the bar, watching them mingle. Someone offered me champagne. I took it, sipped it, set it down. Maya approached from my left. We'd met once before at a barbecue months ago. She was the cousin of the groom. "Hey," she said low, "can I ask you something real quick?" She motioned toward the hallway that led to the restrooms. I followed, no questions. Something in her face told me I needed to hear it. When we reached the dim hallway near the coat check, she said one sentence. "I'm sorry to ask this, but are you okay with him bringing Elise to Miami last month?" I blinked once. Then again, what? She tilted her head, confused. "I just assumed you knew. They were at my cousin's birthday in Miami. They came together. Elise introduced herself as his girlfriend. Everyone believed her." My ears were ringing. I read her lips, read the words, but I did not feel them land until 3 seconds later. Then it hit me, the weight of it, the cold sweat at the base of my neck. Tyler never mentioned Miami, never once. He said he had a work retreat in Charlotte. 2 nights, back-to-back meetings, spotty reception. I had even sent him a care package. Almonds, protein bars, a card that said, "You got this." And he had been in Miami, with Elise. Calling her his girlfriend, I looked at Maya. She was already wincing like she regretted saying it. "I just assumed you knew," she said again. "I'm so sorry." I shook my head. "No, don't be, thank you." And I meant it, every word. I did not cry, I did not gasp. I just walked back into the party like I was gliding. Elise was still near the bar, laughing too loud. Tyler was across the room, talking to his best friend's dad. I moved through the crowd without touching a single person. I grabbed another glass of champagne. I posed in a group photo. I smiled with my teeth. I danced once when someone pulled me into the circle. I laughed at a joke I did not hear. I made it through the entire night. And then I went home and did not sleep at all. I waited until morning. Tyler woke up late, groggy and barefoot in the kitchen, rubbing his eyes like a man who'd slept through peace while I had laid next to him in silence, staring at the ceiling. I didn't ask how the party was. I didn't mention Elise. I poured myself coffee and left before he could say a word. At the print shop across the street from my office, I handed the attendant my phone and said, "Just this one. Matt." Full page. It was the photo Maya had texted me, the one from her cousin's birthday in Miami. Elise in the foreground, arms slung around Tyler's neck like she belonged there. Tyler's hand on her waist, his face angled toward her shoulder. Her caption had been, "Weekend with my person Dizzy." He read it, he liked it. The photo had 56 likes. One of them was his mother. I picked up the print 20 minutes later, drove back to the apartment, taped it to the bathroom mirror, the one he always fogged up after his showers, the one I wiped down with my sleeve too many times while holding back my voice. On the corner of the photo, I placed a sticky note. "Did she relax enough for you? I left the espresso machine." The white bath towels I bought, his favorite oat milk. I took my shoes, my books, my perfume, my phone charger, my face wash. I took my silence, and then I left. I didn't text, I didn't call, I didn't block him, not yet. I just walked out like I was late for something better, and maybe I was. He called 8 times that day, 4 more the next morning. I didn't answer any of them, not even to listen to him stumble through whatever version of reality he'd constructed in his head. But Linda texted, "You owe him an explanation. This is childish. No, how are you? No, what happened?" Just a scold. I sent her the Miami photo, no caption, no follow-up. She never replied. Tyler stopped calling after that, at least for a few days. I think he realized then that the version of me he'd trained to doubt herself, to backtrack and apologize for being uncomfortable, was gone. And what replaced her? Someone who knew the truth was enough. Elise went private on Instagram by Friday. It didn't happen right away. At first, she doubled down. Someone tagged me in one of her posts, a mirror selfie from what looked like her bathroom, captioned, "Some people can't handle a secure woman nail art emoji," and a star emoji. I didn't react. I didn't even open the post myself. A friend sent me the screenshot, timestamp and all. The comments were what caught my attention. "Didn't you call him your person when he was still with Ivy? Girl, this ain't the flex you think it is. Funny how secure always means the other girl's silence." Within hours, the post was gone. By nightfall, her entire account was locked down. Bio edited. Comments turned off. Story highlights erased. A coworker of mine who used to follow both of them messaged me later that night, "You didn't even have to do anything." Damn. I didn't reply, but I did watch. Because it turns out I wasn't the first. A girl named Riley messaged me the next morning. She said, "Hey, I'm not trying to be messy, but are you okay?" When I said yes, she sent a 2-paragraph summary of her own experience with Elise. 2 years ago, different boyfriend, same playbook. "Elise's whole thing is not like other girls," she wrote, "until she becomes the exact thing she swore she wasn't." I thanked her. She didn't owe me that. Tyler didn't just disrespect me. He collected enablers. Elise just happened to be the loudest, but now she was quiet. The silence wasn't mine anymore. It was hers, and the internet never forgets. Tyler's friend Chris was the next to fold. Of all the ones who used to sit around cracking jokes about how Tyler was such a catch, Chris was the loudest. He once said, in front of me, "If she doesn't lock you down, someone else will." At the time, I laughed along. Smiled like it was flattering. It was not. After everything unfolded, Chris sent me a message. Just one. "Honestly, I thought you were being dramatic. I didn't know he was doing all that." I did not reply. Not because I didn't have words, but because silence was working better than anything I'd ever said. I screenshot it though, not to post, not to share, just to keep. A quiet receipt for myself. Because here's what no one tells you about gaslighting. Even after you know what happened, part of you still wonders if you imagined it. If maybe it wasn't that bad. If maybe it was just your fault. So that screenshot, it was my anchor. It told me I hadn't made it up. That someone else, someone from his side, saw the truth too. They all used to laugh. Now they were messaging me like I had just walked out of a burning building and they'd finally smelled the smoke. I didn't need their praise. I didn't want their apologies. But I let their silence turn into clarity, one message at a time. And I held each one like a line in my own story, the one no one else got to rewrite. I moved out exactly 2 weeks after the party. No drama, no warning, just a silent, strategic removal. I waited until he was at work. Grabbed the canvas duffel I kept in the back of the closet, the one he said was too practical to be cute. Packed it with what was mine and only mine. The espresso machine, mine. The velvet green couch I picked, paid for, and assembled alone while he watched football. Mine. The laundry basket with the broken handle that I kept because he said we didn't need a new one. I left that. I took the throw pillows, the copper measuring cups, the book of poems I never let him read because he called poetry extra. I left one thing. On the kitchen counter, taped flat to a spiral-bound wall calendar. The calendar showed the last 3 months. Each week, a little red dot marked the day he told me he was too busy. Busy for date night. Busy for dinner with my parents. Busy for the couple's trip I begged him to commit to. And taped under each dot, screenshots. Photos, stories, every one of them from Elise's page. From the nights he was working late. From the weekends he was exhausted. From Miami, a visual record, no commentary. No gotcha. Just the facts. I taped it to the fridge. I wanted him to see it every time he reached for a beer. Every time he went for creamer. Every time he stood there, staring at food he didn't know how to cook because I always did it. I didn't need a confrontation. I didn't want one. I just wanted the truth to sit in that apartment after I left, louder than I ever was. And I wanted him to live in it exactly the way I had to. I heard Tyler tried to delete his social media. First it was Instagram, gone overnight. Then Twitter. Then a taking a break from socials post on Facebook that lasted exactly 3 hours before he deactivated the whole thing. Too many people knew, too many questions, not enough lies left to cover them. I didn't answer any of it, not the texts from mutual friends, not the "hey, what happened?" Messages from people I hadn't spoken to in months. Not even the "you okay?" Voice note from someone who once told me I was too sensitive about Elise. Instead, I changed one thing, my profile picture. I went back to the engagement party album and picked a photo Maya had taken. I'm mid-laugh holding a glass of champagne. There's gold light on my cheek, my nails painted deep red. I look alive. And in the background, just blurred enough, is Elise turned toward Tyler, caught in motion, just slightly off balance. No caption, no explanation, just the image, quiet and sharp. I didn't post a story, I didn't tag anyone, I just uploaded the photo and logged off. Within a day, I got 35 likes, 2 new follows, and a text from someone who once rolled his eyes when I brought up boundaries. Okay, damn, that's cold. But it wasn't cold, it was clarity, it was proof, it was mine, because silence doesn't mean weakness. Sometimes, silence is the last thing they hear before the truth speaks for itself. I am not over it, but I am through it. There's a difference. I do not flinch when I hear Elise's name now. I do not spiral when someone uses the word jealous. That one used to haunt me like I'd done something wrong for having instincts. I know better now. Silence is not maturity when you're using it to make everyone else more comfortable. It is not noble to swallow what hurts you just because someone else tells you it should not. I used to think strength was being chill, being unbothered, being the girlfriend who doesn't cause problems. Now I know better. Strength is naming the pattern before it names you. It's looking at a room full of people who want you to smile and saying, actually, no. I will never twist myself small again just to fit inside someone else's comfort zone. I will never relax myself into invisibility. And I will never again apologize for noticing what they didn't want me to see. If protecting your ego requires me to doubt my own eyes, you are the problem. I don't need a man who swears loyalty while handing his phone to another woman. I don't need a friend who rolls her eyes when I say I'm uncomfortable. And I definitely don't need a mother-in-law who tells me to be quieter, when what I needed was to be heard. So no, I am not over it, but I am on the other side, and that finally is enough. They do not tell that story anymore. Not the one where I was jealous. Not the one where I was overly emotional. Not the one where I blew things out of proportion. That story got quiet. Because once people see the truth, they do not unsee it. Once the pattern is printed, posted, passed around, they stop trying to rewrite it. When they talk about that night now, the engagement party, they remember a lot of things. The music, the outfits, the champagne tower, and the silence. The one that fell after Maya pulled me aside. The one that thickened when I walked back into the room like nothing had changed, except everything had. The one that followed Tyler when he realized I wasn't going to ask anymore. I was just going to leave. That silence lives louder than all the jokes they used to make. Louder than the word relax. Louder than Elise's giggle and Linda's warnings and Chris's texts. It speaks when I don't. Because once a woman learns to stop explaining, once she stops arguing, once she simply exits, there is nothing left for them to spin. They do not tell that story anymore. Not out loud, not where I can hear, and that silence, that's mine now. Thank you for watching. Please do not forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I love you all.